Oklahoma baseball offered a complete clean sweep against Sam Houston at home, while the softball team also achieved a sweep over the previously undefeated number 10 ranked South Carolina Gamecocks this past weekend, and concluding yet another great weekend for the Oklahoma Sooners at the ball fields there in Norman this past weekend. We're going to talk about it all and so much more here on the Sooner Spotlight. Sooner Nation, welcome into another episode of the Sooner Spotlight, your all-access pass for all things Oklahoma Sooners athletics. I'm your host, Josh Mahler. You can find me on X at RealJoshMahler, and follow the show on Instagram. That's at Sooner Spotlight. Go follow us over there for all updates on the show and so much more. Show us some love. There's also going to be polls that we're putting out over there. There was one that we were able to get out today. It's been a busy weekend, so apologies for a late start to the show. I was hoping to get this started about 6:30, screwed up and did it in the wrong time zone. I had a 12-hour drive ahead of me driving back home from Ohio from this past weekend, going out to see my wife's family. So apologies for all of that. And then, of course, trying to get everything going today was just a disaster. Feels like nothing wants to go right when you're on a crunch and trying to get things up and running. But we are live, so go ahead and jump in that live chat. Love to hear from you. Put all the questions, comments, your favorite moments from this past weekend, your favorite play, your favorite player. Let me know. Jump in the live chat tonight. And just a quick reminder, the Sooner Spotlight is a member of the OU Insider content lineup. To keep up with even more on the Oklahoma Sooner sports, go over to OUinsider.com to become a member of the greatest Oklahoma community out there. I am extremely honored and happy, excited to be a part of OU Insider now. It really is. I could tell you all day about how much I love OU Insider and what they have to offer over there and what Parker Thune and Brandon Drum have put together over there. But it really doesn't do it justice. So just go over to OUinsider.com today, get signed up, and check it out because it's absolutely amazing stuff. They have all kinds of inside scoops. And I know a lot of people just say, hey, the OU Insider is kind of a ripoff because I could just wait a little bit longer and be able to see the story come out. But what they provide on there is much more than just a story. It's a community, so you can jump in the chat. You can comment on the posts. You can see more behind the scenes stuff that's going on with the Oklahoma Sooners. There's a lot to offer over at OUinsider.com. So go check it out at OUinsider.com today. Become a member today. It is the greatest Oklahoma community out there. And join today. Stop missing out on all the inside scoop. Of course, let's get started. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it today because we've got a lot to cover when it comes down to the Oklahoma Sooners. And this past weekend, we're going to talk more about basketball tomorrow, but I'm going to start off and bring up basketball. Of course, Sooners basketball somehow finding a way to end an 8-game losing streak against Texas and finish it off. Porter Moser might have saved his job last night, or I guess last night. See, I told you, it's been a long weekend. But this past weekend, Porter Moser may have saved his job. You may love that. You may hate that. If you're like me, I love it because it shows that he's not giving up. It shows that he's got the will, he's got the determination. He's trying his best with what he's given. And we're going to talk a lot more about that this past weekend and their future in the SEC tournament tomorrow. with Brody Lusk. So if you don't know who Brody Lusk is, one of the best over at OU Insider. Again, one of those guys that you get to catch on OU Insider that he knows the game. He knows it really well. We actually just talked with him right after the Missouri win, I believe it was. And so, no, it wasn't the Missouri one. I'm trying to think which game that was. We just talked to him recently after Mississippi State win. So go check that out as well. You can kind of listen to Brody. He talks a little bit about the future and Porter Mosier's future with the Sooners, what they have to do going forward. And we kind of talked expectations. But tonight we're just going to talk about baseball and softball. And, based on the polls that we put out there, I think a lot more people are interested more in softball than they are baseball. Based on the attendance, a lot more people are more tuned in to softball, and understandably so. This is a softball team that's fighting for a 5-peat right now, so we have to take that into consideration. But let's go ahead and start off with baseball. Like I said, just to get this out of the way, see we've got some people tuning in. Make sure to jump in that live chat. Let me know what your favorite moment of this past weekend was for the Oklahoma Sooners, because for the baseball, I mean, this is a great baseball squad. If you're not a baseball fan, give them a shot. I think they're a lot of fun. I'm not usually one to enjoy watching baseball on TV. I love going to baseball games. I think baseball games are one of the most fun sports to go to. It's a summertime sport, really, so it's hot outside. You get to go out and enjoy. If you're one to enjoy a cold beverage, get yourself a cold beverage and some sunflower seeds and I don't know, just a nice stadium hot dog. Doesn't get much better than that. So go support these guys, because they're looking phenomenal. 14-1 or 15-1. I don't know for sure. I don't think I have that written down on here, but I can pull it up really quick as well. So, but this squad is looking really good. They've got some top 10 opponents that they've beat. They got railed against DBU. That's Dallas Baptist University, who is also ranked. But overall, this is a great squad, this baseball squad, and again, showing that against Sam Houston. Sam Houston came into this one 3-9, if memory serves me correctly. They came in not looking great. The Sooners are now 14-1 after this past weekend, and again, Sam Houston with a 3-9 record, you wouldn't think that they're a good team, but this is a squad that Sam Houston is a quality opponent for a non-conference opponent in baseball. And it's one of those teams that when they get things figured out, they're kind of in that figuring things out stage right now, and it's tough to get things figured out against an Oklahoma squad that's got things already figured out, it seems like, with a pitching staff that is as deep as it is, being able to go to Malachi or to Kyson Witherspoon, the twin aces there. You've got Dylan Crooks, who steps in and saves the day. Cam Johnson had a phenomenal game this past weekend. I thought he had a career high. Apparently, Sooner fans that saw the post, saw the poll on X, formerly known as Twitter, whatever you want to call it. You guys must not have thought that Cam Johnson's performance was that impressive, but I believe that was in game 3. No, it might have been game 2. But he ended up having an outstanding performance with a career high in overall and overall strikeouts. So, and he had a really good game. Let's see, I've got this pulled up too. So he had pitched for 5 innings, allowed only 4 hits, and again, a career high 8 strikeouts. That was game 2 against Sam Houston this past weekend. So yeah, I mean, I thought Cam Johnson's performance was one of those worthy of the we're gonna talk about a Sooner Spotlight of the Week, something new we're doing. Again, make sure to follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Real Josh Mahler. You can check me out over there. That's where we're posting the poll today. From now on, we'll also post that on YouTube as well. We've kind of I thought of that last minute just today, and again, it's been a busy weekend, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to get that out there to you guys. But just looking overall, this pitching staff has been phenomenal for the Oklahoma Sooners, and Sam Houston gave them fits. Sam Houston found ways to keep themselves in really each of these games. Game 2 was the only one that it seems like the Sooners were really swinging those bats heavy and being able to connect with the ball really well and keep their offense rolling. But it really took strong pitching in crucial moments for the Sooners to keep themselves out ahead. Starting off with game 1, Sooners closing that one out 6-5, and just a really, really good game, really on both sides. And, kind of going down the list and seeing what everyone was able to get. So you have guys, Easton Carmichael, one of the best and most sure hitters that the Oklahoma Sooners have on offense. Easton Carmichael went up to the plate 4 times, only got 1 hit. Really, nobody was walked. That was some really good pitching by Sam Houston. And see, their main pitcher that ended up getting credited for the loss was Ryan Peterson. He pitched for 5 innings, only allowed 7 hits the entire game. I think he was pitching very well. He did allow 3 runs total, but only allowing 7 hits in 5 innings. He had a really good game, and Oklahoma's known for their offense, especially this year. I think you've seen that early on in the season. We saw a lot of that. We saw high-scoring games from the Sooners. So this was a pretty impressive game from Sam Houston, regardless of what the score showed. At the end of the game, allowing 6 total runs. This was a phenomenal game and a very strategic game, really on both ends. And again, what we're seeing the entire season long so far from the Sooners is they're going to get off to some slow starts. They're going to start off a little slow, and it's going to take those middle innings for them to get going. You saw that there in Game 1 against Sam Houston this past weekend, where nothing really gets going until about the 4th, 5th inning. And sure enough, 4th inning, they got themselves on the board. They were able to take the lead there. 5th inning, able to get 2 more on the board. 6th inning, 2 more on the board. 7th inning, 1 on the board. So again, you're seeing those middle innings are really where they're taking a little bit of time to warm up. They're figuring out the pitcher, and when they figure it out, when they get through that rotation, maybe a couple times, that seems to be when that 2nd or 3rd time through that they start connecting with the ball, and when they are, they're getting scores in bunches. And it's not going to work well if you have to keep on waiting until the 4th inning to do it, but it's working so far. And that's all they've got to do. Jumping on to and I guess starting off with Game 1 as well, I want to give Kyson Witherspoon a shout out. Just an amazing performance. He could have also been up for the Sooner Spotlight of the Week as well, but I still don't think he would have been voted in for the Sooner Spotlight of the Week. Spoiler alert: they didn't win it. Neither him or Cam Johnson. But Kyson Witherspoon, he was credited. He's now undefeated, 4-0, credited with the wins. He pitched 5 innings, only allowed 1 hit and 1 run. He walked two batters. He walked 2, and he had 12 strikeouts. A season high. I'm not sure if that's a career high for him or not, but I know it's a season high. He had 12 strikeouts, and I'm trying to think back to which game that would have been. It might have been Virginia. Might have been Minnesota. I believe it was in that Round Rock Classic, if I remember right. But yeah, Kyson Witherspoon, again, and just another performance. He's really showing up, and he's got a lot of MLB scouts out watching him. That's a dude to keep an eye on. So again, if you're not a baseball fan, I'll be down in Norman for the first SEC home matchup that the Sooners are going to have. The first series, Mississippi State. So it won't be this weekend, but it'll be next weekend. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited to go down there and to be able to cover for the Sooners as well, and cover the game for OU Insider. Jump on that, but and I'll hopefully be able to see Kyson Witherspoon in person, because this guy is just phenomenal. Watching him pitch, so great, such a great overall pitcher, and just a lot of fun to watch. But moving on, Game 2, again, like I said, we should probably move on through baseball, because I know not a lot of people care so much about baseball, but I'm trying to get you guys into baseball. I'm telling you, if you're a Sooner fan and you want to support the Sooners, or even if you're not a Sooner fan and you're just near Norman and you want to go catch a good game, this Sooner squad is a lot of fun to watch. If you're a baseball fan but not necessarily a Sooners baseball fan, go watch a couple games, because you might be a Sooners baseball fan after watching just a couple. But anyways, going on to Game 2, Cam Johnson, I think he had a great game. Again, 5 innings, only allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, walked only 2, but he had 8 strikeouts, a career high. That was the main reason why I threw him on the poll today for the Sooner Spotlight of the Week, just because I think he's well deserving of at least a mention, just because getting a career high in strikeouts, and he was, when he was on fire. When he was on point, it was getting in there, and it was sliding past. He's putting it on the mark really well. Reed Hensley ended up coming in for the save in this game and ended up winning that second game, as you can see on the screen there on the overlay, 7-3. So a pretty good game for the Sooners. That was a really safe game. That was one that you didn't have to worry too much about them coming away with it. It seems like they were able to pull away just fine and no problems. But then it came down to game 3, and it was a little worrisome because the Sooners were down. Going into the bottom of the 7th, the score was 6-1, if memory serves me correctly. 6-1 going into the bottom of the 4th. I think I might have said 7th, and I apologize. Again, long weekend. Bear with me, please. I promise this is not going to be one of the more polished episodes. We're not editing or anything like that, so just stick around with me. Anyways, heading into the bottom of the 4th, and Sooners are down, 5-1, and they come out and have a 7-run inning just going on fire in the 4th inning, and just beautiful. Just nonstop. It seemed like everybody was getting a piece of the ball and everybody was putting it into play, right down the third baseline, out into left field. Just beautiful balls placed, and a couple of them too, kind of slicing right through the middle of the field beautifully. It seemed like they finally found their rhythm at bat for the first time all weekend. I know they scored 6 and 7, but this 4th inning where they scored 7, it was great for the Sooners. I loved watching it. Loved seeing. I mean, that's the kind of baseball that you come out for. When you come out there and you go for watching high-scoring games, right? Especially if it's your team. You want to see them scoring a lot. That's why people love the Oklahoma Sooners softball team. Go out there and support those girls because they deserve it, and they're a lot of fun. But big-time performances that we can shout out. You got Jason Walk, center fielder. Man, Jason Walk has been great all season long, and had a really good game there in Game 3 against Sam Houston with 2 RBIs. Easton Carmichael, who I mentioned just a moment ago, great performance from him as well, also getting 2 RBIs. He went 2 for 2. He walked twice. I read that wrong. He had 2 runs scored. No, I'm looking at this right. So he went 3 for 2. Man, again, long weekend. I'm telling you guys. Went out to Ohio to see the wife's family and spent all weekend out there, plus time change. Nobody likes time change. But anyways, Easton Carmichael, great game from him. He had 3 hits and scored 2 RBIs, 2 runs as well. Beautiful game from him. Sam Christensen has been a sure bat all season long. And surprisingly, Kyle Branch kind of had a slow weekend. It was just not really anything going for him all weekend. It felt like I don't feel like his name was called much. He did great on defense. He did his job there. Did very well, but in terms of swinging the bat, just nothing much. Drew Dickerson, though, designated hitter, came in and was able to get some hits as well, and coming in there doing a pretty fine job. But overall, this was just a beautiful performance. Ended up closing it out in 7 innings. Just a really good performance by the Sooners there on the baseball against Sam Houston this past weekend. But like I said, we're going to move on from baseball. I know you guys don't care too much about baseball. I can tell because, for one, the poll that I put out earlier today, you guys are a little bit interested. Hey, yeah, cool. I'm glad that Sooners baseball is doing good, but you're not big fans into it, and I wish you were, because I am loving baseball this year. But I'm a huge Oklahoma softball fan as well, and I know you guys are. So we're going to jump into OU softball and talking about them as well, because they had a great weekend as well. Huge weekend. Absolutely loved watching what they were able to do. And it was a weekend that we were nervous about going into this weekend, going against South Carolina, the first SEC series of the year of this new campaign of being a member of the SEC. And I saw somebody mention something, and they posted on X, somewhere on social media, where I saw it said, "Oklahoma softball, welcome to the SEC." And I said, wait, well, hold up a minute. They just now swept South Carolina, and you're going to say, welcome to the SEC. No, I think it's, hey, SEC, welcome to Oklahoma softball. I think that's how the roles need to be reversed there, and that's exactly what it was this weekend, because it was so much fun watching these games. This entire series lived up to the hype. Going into it, I said, I feel like South Carolina is underrated. I think that South Carolina should be ranked higher than they are. They were ranked number 10. They were undefeated. And it showed this past weekend because their bats are hot. They are explosive. They were getting big-time hits. South Carolina is a very good softball team. And the Sooners were nervous going into this one. I think the Sooner fans were nervous going into this one if you really know who South Carolina was. And I totally think this lived up to the hype. Obviously, first game, 10-9. Second game, 10-9. Two super big-time, high-scoring games that just kept on flopping. And it looked like Oklahoma's about to lose. But then you have somebody with an explosive bat to return and play South Carolina's game back at them. And that's what it was. It was just resilience, the type of resiliency that you haven't had to see from the Sooners. You didn't have to see Oklahoma come out there and battle back from being behind ever. Really, I mean, in the past 4 or 5 years, you've just seen them be dominant. Even this year, I mean, you've seen them be a little, early in the season, that first weekend, you saw them in some close matchups. You saw them working off some rust and working out some positioning where they wanted certain girls to be positioned. And then you go into that second weekend, and that was the Sooners team that we're used to seeing. And it was a lot of fun. But this past weekend absolutely lived up to the hype. Gabby Garcia being one of the girls just showing off. Obviously, Isabella Emmerling doing what she did. And then, featuring Audrey Lowry's effective pitching, very effective pitching, surprisingly effective pitching, and loved seeing what we saw from her. But let's go on and kind of jump back to this past weekend, because Oklahoma softball completing this sweep against South Carolina was not something that I thought would happen. And I think a lot of people who have been close to this Oklahoma softball team and been watching them this season felt like there's probably a loss hiding in the weeds somewhere down the road, especially after that first weekend. All right, we've probably got a loss. And when South Carolina started looking as good as they have up to this point, coming in here, 20-0? I don't know. It looks like this could be the team that ends up taking Oklahoma down. And in that game one, sure felt like that. Oklahoma kind of edging them out 10-9 at Love's Field, but just a complete thrilling SEC opener. Gabby Garcia, one of those girls that really stepped up. I'm gonna bring up the box score just to kind of go through here too, because just really fun. Gabby Garcia was able to get 2 big time hits and it brought in 3 RBIs in this game. Just outstanding, and a 340 average. Man, how about Ella Parker too? The ability for her to go in there, and it doesn't matter the situation. Ella Parker, correct me if I'm wrong, Ella Parker is only a sophomore. I might be wrong on that, and I might be getting her mixed up with someone else, but Ella Parker is just such a calm batter. And when she goes in there, she will take a strike if it's not in the zone that she wants. And she's also patient just to get walked. Really, any one of these girls is just so patient, and that's taught to them through, Patty Gasso and the coaching staff. And I mean, this was just a great overall performance by the Sooners, and again, that resiliency showing what they're able to do in these tight games. I did think it was kind of interesting. We had to go against Quincy Lilio. Didn't like to have to face off against her, an explosive bat, but she was held silent in that first game, and which was really surprising because she is one of those batters that, we know what she's capable of. We know what she can do. But anyways, going on. So Gabby Garcia, she had a great game. But then Ella Parker, she batted a 534 average. 534 batting average. This is a scary good Oklahoma team. And the fact that they lose as much as they lost, bringing in as many new faces as you see on this roster between the transfers that we've had, and then on top of that, a lot of freshmen. I feel like there's 9 freshmen on this team, and they're all getting a piece. They're all stepping in here, and really all of the new faces are making an appearance in some way, some fashion. They're making an appearance. But Isabella Emerling also with an outstanding game. 3 at-bats, 2 hits, 4 RBIs. Man, just beautiful. Beautiful. And big-time moments, too, when you need it the most. Just Isabella Emerling is one of those girls, too, that when she steps up, something special can happen at any moment. She's one of those girls. I mean, obviously, that's just about any one of the girls on this softball squad. That's why they're so good. But now moving their way up to where now they're the only undefeated team in all of D1 softball. And I guess a little bit of spoiler alert. They ended up winning Game 2 and Game 3. Game 2, another 10-9 performance, and it was fun. It was something special because Game 2, it was a doubleheader on March 9th, and they moved the Saturday game over to Sunday to do the closing out the series. Just really fun to watch. Every single one of these games, so much fun to watch. And it came down to the wire in every single one of them. This is just not what we're used to seeing. It's kind of like I don't know how many people really enjoy mixed martial arts, but when you see 2 top dogs, you see maybe a top dog that's just defeating everyone. For example, Alex Pereira. He's one of those guys recently that just has been so dominant. Never thought I'd see anyone beat him. And finally, he was contested a little bit. He ended up losing a controversial loss this past weekend. And that's kind of you're not used to seeing Alex Pereira have to go against anybody that can actually challenge him. And that's what we see from Oklahoma. They're not going against people that are really challenging them a whole lot, let alone for an entire series. And so when you see it, I mean, it's so much fun. But in Game 2, the one that stood out most to me, the one that I thought was just the obvious big time standout was Nelly McEnroe Marinas, and I'm not even sure if I'm saying her name right, so apologies if I'm not. Maybe I can get Parker Thune to correct me, but I mean, just watching Nelly and what she was able to do. She's again, there's not a single girl you can count out on this roster, but she's not one of them that we would have picked. She's not one that we would have predicted to have been the sure bat that got us going. But sure enough, she gets 6 RBIs, 4 at-bats, 3 hits. She had 6 RBIs on the day in Game 2. And that's what gives Oklahoma the lead. And that's what Oklahoma needs. That's what Oklahoma needs is just somebody that's able to step in there in key moments and just deliver when we need it the most. There's moments when you're gonna be in a battle against a really good SEC squad like South Carolina, and you're going to need that one standout player to step up to the plate and just, hey, don't worry, you get on base and I got you covered. And that's exactly what Nelly was able to do. Nelly had an outstanding performance in Game 2, and we'll talk more about her in just a second because, I mean, 4 at-bats, 6 RBIs. I mean, 6 RBIs in one single game. And yeah, it was a fantastic outing from her. The pitching staff really kind of had help from several pitchers. This is one where Isabella Smith, 3.1 innings pitched, wasn't really getting much done. Had to go on to Peyton Monticelli and Kirsten Deal to clean it up, and just not great from the pitching staff this entire past weekend. Overall, this past weekend, not the greatest performance. Isabella Smith also pitched, and Kirsten Deal both pitched in Game 1 against South Carolina. Again, when you're allowing as much as 9 runs, that's not a great performance. But we have to also realize that this was an outstanding South Carolina team that I think was underrated by a lot. I think based on the rankings, based on everything going, from the nation, I think they were underrated. I don't think Oklahoma underrated them. I think we knew what to expect, and I think everyone knows that Oklahoma is that team that everyone's going to be swinging the hardest against Oklahoma. Against this softball squad, everyone's going to look at them. They are number 1, regardless of what Softball America wants to say. Softball America still doesn't have them ranked at number 1. Please make sense of that. How you can beat an an undefeated South Carolina team, one of the last few undefeated teams. You can beat them, and not just beat them in the series, but sweep them, and you're still not ranked number one. A top 10 opponent who really should be a top 5 opponent, in my opinion, and you still are not number one after this weekend. We'll talk a little bit more about that, I'm sure. But anyways, going on to game number 3 for this softball squad, as they were able to take them down 2-1. Much different game, still a tight game, still an exciting game. If you like defense, which based on the poll that I got earlier today, I think you guys must really like defense, because we'll get to that. But if you like defense, this was the game for you. This was an exciting defensive game, and I know that might sound silly because, again, the excitement in baseball or softball is watching the bats be explosive and bomb one out to the outfield and, knock it out of the park so that we can get a souvenir. And that wasn't the case in this game. This was a very tight, very close game, but again, it showed that, the patience, again, from Ella Parker, one of those that's just the patience. Getting walked twice, Ella Parker, just beautiful stuff. And ultimately, I mean, there's not a whole lot on offense to shout out in this game. There wasn't. 2-1. You tell me what was exciting offensively, other than just being able to be patient, recognizing that you're not connecting, you're not hitting the ball well, but you just stay patient and you fight through it. It doesn't matter that you're not hitting the ball well. You don't freak out, you don't panic. You hang in there and you just close out the game, and ultimately relying on your defense. The defense helped Audrey Lowry a lot, but Audrey Lowry had an outstanding game. And again, another one, I might be wrong, but I believe Audrey Lowry is just a freshman. She pitched 7 innings. My iPad keeps on wanting to call something, and I don't know what that number is that it keeps on popping up. It's recognizing a phone number from the box score, and that's scary. AI is taking over everything. But anyways, Audrey Lowry, 7 innings pitched and only allowed 3 hits in this entire game, again, against a South Carolina squad that was going against some good pitchers. I think Peyton Monticelli is one of those that we bring in to clean up, and they were hitting against Peyton Monticelli with 3 hits and 2 runs against Peyton Monticelli. Isabella Smith, great pitcher. She's one of the pitchers that are in our lineup to be a key piece of this pitching staff. But Isabella Smith had 10 hits and 7 runs hit on her in game 2. Going back to game 1, Kirsten Deal. Again, Kirsten Deal, who was a big part of this pitching staff last season when the Oklahoma Sooners won the national championship. And with 4 innings pitched, she had 6 hits and 6 runs on her. So, I mean, just game 1, game 2, you saw this South Carolina team go against some very good pitchers, some pitchers in Oklahoma's pitching staff that are expected to go out there and deliver. And in game 3, they were not able to hit more than 3 hits on 24 at-bats, only 3 hits allowed by the freshman, Audrey Lowry. That is an outstanding performance, an absolutely outstanding performance. Only 2 strikeouts, but no walks. And the defense, again, the defense just helping her out where they need to. And that's part of being a good pitcher. Getting the ball in zones where it's not going to be hit well, it's going to be hit well enough to be able to field the ball, that goes on the pitcher a lot of times. And that's exactly what you saw from Audrey Lowry. Just very effective pitching. It wasn't the flashiest. It wasn't that she got 10 strikeouts. It's just that she went in there and delivered. She did what she had to do. She delivered. She was effective, got the job done, and that's all that it took for Audrey Lowry, which brings us to the Sooner Spotlight of the Week. We put this poll out there. And again, going forward, make sure to tune in on X, formerly known as Twitter, and then also on YouTube, because on Sunday evenings, we're going to put out a poll and start that poll. And it's going to go until 6:30 I guess right around 6:30 on Monday, on every Monday. So tune in, because we're going to do a Sooner Spotlight of the Week. And this week we said which one would you want to vote for? And we're going to put 4 of them out there so you guys can vote upon them. And you guys feel free to comment and let me know if there's someone that you feel deserves more than the ones that we have nominated. But this week we had Audrey Lowry for her performance there in Game 3 versus South Carolina. Again, 7 innings pitched, only 3 hits allowed, only 1 run allowed, and no walks. So Game 3 of Audrey Lowry, I think she absolutely deserved the nomination. You guys thought so as well, obviously, based on the numbers here. Nelly with her 6 RBIs off of 3 hits and 3 runs in Game 2 versus South Carolina. She absolutely deserved it over for Oklahoma softball. Cam Johnson, I thought he deserved being nominated. You guys must not have thought so. Either that or you just didn't watch Game 2 for Oklahoma baseball, because he ended up having a career high in strikeouts and with 5 innings pitched, only 4 hits allowed. I think that was a really good game for Cam Johnson. One of his best performances all season long, if not the best performance all season long from him. And I could have thrown Jeremiah Fears in on the basketball team, but instead I put Luke Northweather because he played 22 minutes and stepping in for Sam Godwin versus Texas, and he ended up going 4 for 4 from the field. Didn't get the ball a lot. He really didn't. He didn't get the ball much, but he ended up going 4 for 4, got himself 10 points and 5 rebounds. And I think that he filled his role in, especially on defense. I think he filled the role for Sam Godwin very well, playing 22 minutes and performing really well. So obviously you guys thought that he deserved a little bit of a nomination as well. And so we put that poll out there and only ran for a little bit because X was down today from some attacks. And the Sooner Spotlight Player of the Week ends up going to Audrey Lowry for an outstanding performance. You guys obviously love defensive softball, and Audrey Lowry ends up winning the Sooner Spotlight of the Week. She was the Player of the Week this week, and so we're going to make sure to put that out there on social media. So follow us over on X, formerly known as Twitter. Follow me on X at @RealJoshMahler. That link's also down in the description, so if it's easier for you just to click on that, go for it. But yeah, Audrey Lowry, I think she was well deserving of the nomination and for the win. I'm totally happy. I thought for sure offensive firepower would have won a little bit there with, maybe Nelly would have taken it with the 6 RBIs, and I think she jumped out to the early lead on the polls, but then she ended up not winning it. But overall, it was a great one, a great weekend for the Oklahoma Sooners, specifically in softball and baseball. Basketball looks like they could be going dancing, so make sure to tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, we should have an episode put out there with Brody Lusk, where we talked plenty about Oklahoma basketball and what they did this past weekend, beating Texas, and then their future in the SEC tournament, as well as trying to go dancing and everything, so much more. Make sure to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, @RealJoshMahler. Keep updated with the show, and follow the show on Instagram @Sooner Spotlight. You can follow us over there for updates on the show and so much more. We're going to have all kinds of content pumped out there. And again, make sure to tune into Oklahoma baseball, tune into Oklahoma softball. I know you guys, seems like maybe you guys aren't the biggest fans of baseball, but we've got to support this team. This team has the capability to make it to Omaha, especially if these fans can show out. If Sooner Nation can show out and be loud at these home games when they come. I mean, we're about to get into SEC play. This was the last series before SEC play. I believe we have a game. The Sooners have a game on Wednesday. And I'm drawing a blank on who they go against on Wednesday, but they have a game on Wednesday, and that game is against Louisiana Tech, Wednesday, March 12th at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's at Eldale Mitchell Park, so make sure to show up, be loud, be proud, show up for these guys, and then they're away. I believe South Carolina is the first SEC series, but then they come home against Mississippi State, so I'll be there. I hope you guys show up. We got to show up for the Sooner baseball team. Hopefully, they don't schedule the baseball team at the same exact time in Norman as the softball team, because I understand why the softball team probably gets a little bit more love. They're more fun to watch. They're going for a 5-peat. They're an explosive team, so I get it. But make sure to sign up with OUinsider.com today to get all the inside scoop on everything going on with Sooner sports. Again, super excited to be working with OU Insider, working with Parker Thune and Brandon Drum over there. Both those guys are awesome. Just loving working with them so far. So a lot of big things coming in the future for Sooner Spotlight. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Again, follow us over on social media. It's the best way to keep up with the show. Polls will be out for Sooner Spotlight of the week from now on. So again, keep an eye out. Sometimes Sunday evening, Monday morning to afternoon. It's going to be open until Monday at 6:30 when the show's supposed to go live. Again, we had a kind of a long. I had a long weekend trying to get everything going. 12-hour drive today. All kinds of stuff. I have plenty of excuses if you want me to keep on going with them, but instead I'm going to send you guys off. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share, follow us on social media, all that fun stuff. You can also jump over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, and give us a 5-star review. Follow, subscribe over there as well. We want to thank you all so much for tuning in this time. We'll catch you next time. Boomer.